Funny.
Hey everyone, welcome. This is the first GitLab Runner Group kickoff video for the new calendar year and also actually for the new fiscal year. So Gina Doyle is with me, lead product designer for GitLab Runner Group. So today I'm going to share my screen out and we're going to do a kickoff video for Fortinet 8, but we're also going to give you a little bit of quick context in terms of the strategic direction for our three major categories in the Runner Group. So let me just share my screen really fast, which I should have done before. And just to set the stage, for those folks that have been following along, prior to September or October of last year, we only had one category direction page for the Runner Group. Since then, we have broken out our direction pages into three sub pages so that you can go into each of these pages now and get a little bit more detailed view of what's happening in each of the Runner categories. And those categories are Runner Core, which is the core Runner binary itself, and this is what I'm going to cover here on this page. Runner SaaS, which are, of course, the GitLab SaaS runners, the ones that you use and take advantage of for your CI/CD jobs on GitLab.com, and then Runner Fleet, which Gina is going to talk to. So again, we have three direction pages for the Runner. The one I'm on right now is for Runner Core. We have one for Runner SaaS, and then we have one for Runner Fleet. Just as we're heading into calendar year 2022 and GitLab's fiscal year FY23, just want to kind of just quickly kind of give you a quick summary of the strategic priorities, some of the big picture items that we're thinking about, themes for the Runner Core category. So for this, here's some of the big themes for us are security compliance and secure software supply chain. So we're working on a FIPS compliant GitLab Runner, for example, and that would actually ship pretty soon, which is coming out in 14.7. And we're also looking at significant security enhancements in terms of the actual core Runner architecture. And this is critical to our long-term strategy of enabling, of delivering the best GitLab CI/CD platform. And so we'll be looking at enhanced security improvements for GitLab Runner. Similarly, and also related to the security theme, and more specifically the secure software supply chain, a really interesting piece of work for us this year as well is thinking about how we integrate GitLab Runner with the metadata data store. There's a lot of buzz in the industry. There's a lot of need around this whole concept of securing your software supply chain, of doing things like SBOMs, and the Runner has an integral piece of that. And so we'll be working on and looking at metadata data store integration with GitLab Runner here in this calendar year. Finally, in terms of the security and compliance themes, continuing those as well is, again, major theme for us this year, security and compliance. Two big things for us. So we'll be looking at this concept of namespace or protected GitLab Runner tags and kind of thinking about how that fits within the overall CI/CD architecture. And then we also, as we get into the back end of the calendar year, the back end of the fiscal year for GitLab, kind of thinking about and starting some incremental work around updating the Runner architecture and evolving the architecture, again, with the goal of ensuring that we provide the most secure and reliable CI/CD build environment for your CI/CD jobs in GitLab. On Runner SaaS, and this is the page for Runner SaaS, we have a couple of things in mind as we get into this fiscal year. There's this whole concept of segmenting the Runner SaaS fleet that we have on GitLab.com by client type. So we'll be looking at that, and the goal of that is to ensure that our customers and our open source contributors can benefit from the scale and the performance of our Runner fleet and get optimal value from that service. We'll be looking to take our Mac OS runners that are currently in beta, and thank you so much for the community that's leaned in, the customers that's leaned in. We have a lot of customers on our beta platform right now that's giving us a bunch of great feedback. Our goal would be by Q1 of this fiscal year to move that into GA. So we'll look for more announcements and information on that. And then we're also having this theme around scalability. So we're looking at, and this relates to Runner Core for a bit, implementing a new auto scaling solution for our Docker runners on .com, the ones that actually are currently hosted on Linux VMs. And this is part of our long-term architectural evolution, again, to ensure that for our customers that are using GitLab SaaS, that you are able to depend on and rely on the most scalable and performant CI/CD platform in the industry. So we'll be doing a lot of work this year in terms of implementing and improving our auto-scaling architecture. And then last but not least, we've had our Windows runners on GitLab.com. It's been in beta for over a year now. We've got a few customers that are really interested in us moving that particular offer to GA. So we'll also be looking to move that offer to GA in this fiscal year as well. So Runner Fleet, just to wrap up, scalability improvements, new auto scaling solutions is on the brain for this fiscal year, getting our macOS runners to GA, and then Windows runners to GA as well. So I'll stop sharing and let Gina do a quick overview of kind of what's happening over in Runner Fleet, and then we'll touch on, and then we'll go into the 14.8 iteration plan. Gina?
Thank you. All right, I'll share my screen. So just a summary of what Runner Fleet is, which we've been talking about for the past few milestones now, but our vision is really to provide one place for configuration management capabilities that relate to runners, and in the future allow for predictive analytics to administer that fleet of runners. Right now we have some visionary mocks that we're moving towards to be able to improve the search and association with runners so that you know exactly what you're looking for and you can find that runner really easily. And that includes a whole bunch of improvements, but we've kind of scoped those improvements into themes down here in our strategic priorities. So we're first focusing on the foundational work so that we can build a strong foundation to then add new features. And with that, we're also looking at usability improvements that a lot of them were identified from a UX scorecard that we carried out in 2021. And that gave us a lot of recommendations of how to improve the experience. And then also happening in Q1 of this year, Q1 of 2023, sorry. We have improvements of search and association and being able to export your data for an admin and for group views. And we're also going to turn our attention to usability improvements in the group view, which is something that we haven't really exactly looked at right now since we've been so concentrated on getting the admin view up to speed. And then in FY23 Q2, we'll be looking at runner admin view and adding new features in there, as well as adding new features in the group view. And the timings here potentially could change, but that is what we're looking at right now for the themes going forward. So I'll pass it back to you, Darren, if you want to talk through the 14.8 milestone.
Yeah, thanks, Gina. So on the 14.8 iteration plan, I'm going to share my screen again. Let's kind of dive into that more tactically. So again, we just wanted to frame up the themes for the year. There's a lot of broad themes. And now when we talk about our iteration plans, it's, you know, obviously a bit more tactical. It's kind of what we have on the docket, what we're actually coding to deliver and or ship in this next milestone. So I'll cover briefly what's happening in Runner Core from a features perspective, and I'll touch briefly in terms of what's happening in Runner SaaS work stream and 14.8. So in Runner Core for 14.8, we've got, as you can see on my screen here, we have a number of critical bugs that we need to get wrapped up. So there'll be a key focus, I should say, a primary focus for us in 14.8 is resolving the bugs that are listed here on the screen. We've got one with cleaning up volumes. There's also one related to the Kubernetes executor, and also an issue with the resource coder. There are also some additional issues that are listed here below that we need to tackle related to Git fetch strategy, some stuff with the pipelines namespace, and something to do with CI/CD cache. So we've got a lot of work on the docket in Runner Core that's focused on bugs. As a result of that, as you look under our features section in terms of new capabilities for Runner Core, we talked about this in our last release. We are working on releasing a GitLab Runner operator for Kubernetes. Just to recap, we currently have a GitLab Runner operator for Red Hat OpenShift. It's been very successful and provides a lot of great value for our customers and our user base that uses Red Hat OpenShift. This work is to make that Runner operator more generic, so it will work on sort of vanilla, non-Red Hat OpenShift Kubernetes, and so extending that same value proposition to that segment. We started that work in 14.7. Unfortunately, we didn't wrap it up, so that's why you're seeing it now in 14.8. The other thing that we want to also get over the finish line in terms of new features in Runner Core and Fortinet 8, and this is related to our platform enablement theme that we started in last fiscal year and that we have transferred over this fiscal year. And a platform enablement team, that same runner operator that we released for Red Hat OpenShift last fiscal year, we want to enable it on a PPC64 LE architecture. So we've been doing a bunch of work on getting that done. There were a bit of hiccups with some hiccups in terms of some blockers from a technical standpoint. We hope to resolve those and get that shipped out to you here in 14.8. In addition to platform support, we also want to go ahead and start releasing finally a GitLab runner version that's quote unquote built for the Apple M1 chipsets. Currently, our GitLab runner version that we release is built for x86, AMD64 chipsets. And so this is to go ahead and build a version of the runner for the Apple M1 chipset. A stretch goal for us in terms of new features and capabilities for Runner Core and Fortinet 8, which is back to the theme, if you recall, from the direction page where we were talking about the security and compliance theme, is that we hope to get to start working on a proof of concept where we're integrating our own internal GitLab runner build process with an artifact metadata data store. Whether that's a Grapheus that was released by Google open source or some other solution. But our first goal is to get a POC, do some internal dogfooding on that from a GitLab runner perspective so that we can make some decisions technically in terms of what the right next iteration is in terms of developing a solution that's fully integrated with GitLab runner and then provides you, the end user and customer, a seamless solution as part of the broader software supply chain and security strategy. Finally, on Runner SaaS, we don't have anything planned to ship in terms of either new features or capabilities in terms of the runners that are on GitLab.com, nor are we planning to, in 14.8, release anything as GA. What we are focused on is some internal work that's very important in terms of the health of our Runner SaaS platform on .com. And so we'll be focused on that in 14.8 for Runner SaaS. Runner Fleet, I'm going to pause, and Gina, I'll let you cover the great work that you plan for Runner Fleet 14.8. So I'm going to stop sharing, get it back to you.
Great, thank you. I'll start sharing again. All right, so I'm going to walk through a couple of these, but there is quite a lot that we're taking on for both back end, front end, and then also for UX, this milestone. So to start, we have this one issue about creating audit events in relation to runners. And this one specifically that we're going to be starting with is adding the registration token audit event. So when a runner is registered, we'll be able to capture that event and then display it somehow in the UI. But this is specifically to get the backend work for that working first. The next one that we're going to be focusing on is adding the runner read-only view, which is a newer view that we're adding for all runners now. And what this view will do is give you more data around that runner so that if you happen to be debugging or trying to find something specific about that runner, this should make it a lot easier to do so. This is specifically on the front end that we have a lot of work going on here, but we also have back end work to support this. And one of those is to be able to add a group field to the runner so that you could then identify the group that that runner is associated with. So you know when you're looking at a runner, you can easily find the group rather than having to go through multiple areas, which is kind of the experience that's there today. There's also some other similar work that's going on for projects related to the runner as well as jobs. So you'll be able to see recent jobs and get some more information about those jobs related to that runner. Finally, we have some additional work that we're doing around statuses for runners. So there's some inconsistencies with the statuses today, and we're trying to get that solved so that we can show a better breakdown of those statuses. And that will hopefully help at one glance, just being able to see overall how many runners are active versus how many are offline, and then stale as well, and so on. And then on the UX side, the issue that I'm going to be working on in 14.8 is adding maintenance notes for runners. And this is kind of the way that we could allow for admins to add a specific note if that runner was to come into a problem and you needed a point of contact for it, for example, you could add just in like a normal text field, some notes about where to go to do that, so that there's a direct line of communication there if something were to happen. And that is it. Give it back to you, Darren.
Hey, thank you. That stuff looks super interesting. And again, much kudos to you and the rest of the team that's working on Runner Fleet for all of the great work you've done. And just to wrap up this Fortnite Kickoff video with this quick looking back and a quick shout out, just a massive thanks I should say, to the Runner group for all of the great work for the past year. There's been so much fabulous work done, and we didn't really get a chance to just pause and reflect back on all of the great value that you've added to our users community for the past year. And to just super psyched in terms of the energy as we get into this fiscal year for this group. There's so many cool things planned. The team is just got back from the holidays and is meeting with customers and trying to like develop and solve really interesting problems so that at the end of the day, we develop and we deliver the best platform, GitLab CI/CD platform there is. And so just want to say thank you to the Runner group. If you're looking at this video, and I'm looking forward to an awesome FY23. So this is it for our Fortnite Kickoff video. Thank you, Gina, for doing this with us. See you same time, same place next time. Cheers.